This is The Professional Stepdad, a place where we share stories, strategies, and ideas for men just like you to help answer that one important question: how can I be a better stepdad? Okay. All right, everybody, welcome back to The Professional Stepdad Show. I am your host, Franco Zavala. This is episode 42. It's been a while since I've been on here. Been traveling with the family, got stuck in Hurricane Delta and while we were in Cancun. Interesting story behind that one. So just gonna get back into the swing of things, get back into the flow of the stepdad flow, as I like to call it. A lot of awesome, amazing things going on. The website is almost 100% complete. And the website will have the ability for stepdads, for you, to submit your stories about your journey, about what you've learned, what your takeaways are so far, advice for future stepdads, so on and so forth. So I'm really, really excited about the website. It's going to be called theprofessionalstepdadpodcast.com. I'm sorry, why do I keep saying podcast? I mean, because the show goes on both platforms. So it's theprofessionalstepdad.com. Okay, so what did I want to talk about? So like I said, my wife and I and our children, minus one kid that's in college, got stuck in Cancun during Hurricane Delta when it was going right over Cancun this past week.
Overnight, Hurricane Delta slamming into Mexico. The storm intensified from a tropical depression to a Category 4 hurricane in just over 36 hours. Winds reaching 145 miles per hour yesterday, taking aim at the popular resort towns of Cancun and Cozumel.
But it was really cool. It was a really great, humbling experience for my wife and I, because it was an opportunity for us to teach our kids an amazing lesson about how life can be and how life really is for a lot of people in this world that don't have I don't want to call it luxury, but don't have the opportunity to go on vacations with their family in general, right? So it was really, really cool. So that night we're together, and my wife and I we laying next to each other, and we talked, and we just what we learned about each other over this past week and through the hurricane was that we really enjoy being with one another in the same room, whether the kids are there or not. And as we were laying there, I asked my wife a question, and I go, it's crazy that there are a lot of people who are in relationships, just marriage or just partnerships, who are just kind of existing within their home. It's almost like your roommates with children running around. And so that's one of the questions that I wanted to pose to you today, stepdads, is how would you rate where your relationship is right now with your partner? Do you feel like roommates? Has the spark gone a little bit? Do you find it hard to kind of tap back into that romantic side of you? And I'm saying this for a specific reason, guys, is because it's very important to remember and to understand that you never want to lose your focus on the reason why you're in that home, why you're in your new home, why you decided to step up. Now, remember, the kids are really important. This is definitely about the children and about providing them with an opportunity to have a leader and a mentor and somebody to lean on within their home. Not that they don't have mom or grandma and grandpa or whomever it might be, or bio dad, but just this presence within the home. But you're there for a reason, right? It's because you fell in love with her or you fell in love with your partner. And we tend to lose sight of that. We tend to put that on the back burner because we are so focused and so determined on getting the kids respect and proving everybody wrong. And even ourselves, we're trying to prove ourselves wrong and trying our best not to be like our parents, but at the same time trying to balance the constant complications that come with bio parents and the in-laws and the people that want to see you fail, and you name it, right? So you don't want to lose the reasons why you're there in the first place, right? And that reason is because you fell in love. Like, you wanted to be there. You fell in love so hard and so heavy that you were willing to take on, and you were willing to tackle, and you were willing to travel down a road that most men would run from. But you can't lose focus on why you're there, and that is the relationship first. Don't get me wrong, it's really, really important. It's really, really important. You've heard me say this a whole bunch of times, to focus and to work on yourself. You need to be working on yourself daily. If you can't work on yourself daily, work on yourself every other day. But there needs to be something that happens that is constantly getting your wheels turning to help you stay focused within yourself, within your career, within your health, mentally and physically. So it's very, very important. I'm never going to take away from that, but just remember why you're there. You're there because of this relationship, this partnership that you see, that you saw, the feeling that you had, what made you want to stay there. And if you lose focus on that, if you fail to, stay connected with her, or if you fail to stay connected with your partner, if you fail to stay connected with your why, you are going to find yourself in a position that many married couples and many people in domestic relationships, where they are just living together, they find themselves just like roommates. They kind of just exist. And every once in a while, they'll have a good time. But for the most part, it's always kind of constantly seems like work. And then after a certain amount of hours, all you want to do is sleep. And you have to remember to set aside time for those moments. So are you a roommate? Or or do you find yourself locked into that romantic side? And it's really important that you remember that, guys, because remember this. I have a son. I've got 4 girls, but I've got a son too. It's very important for me to have constant reminders on things that I have to do to speak her love language, my wife's love language, because my son is watching. My girls are watching, whether if it's opening the door or how I speak to her in my tone or what do you call that? What am I thinking of? Agreeing with her, or agreeing with her when it's needed. These are the things that my children are going to be seeing. This is my girls are going to see that this is how a man should treat them. My son is going to see that this is how I'm supposed to treat my partner. And if I lose focus of like the reasons why I'm there, which is her, I love her. I fell in love with my wife. I fell in love with the kids, and I love my children more than anything in the world, but I love my wife, and that's why I was there. I made that decision to stay. So what is your reason? What's your why? What's your decision? Why are you there? Why do you continue to stay? And can you be honest with yourself when I ask the question, do you find yourself losing that romantic side of you? Or are you doing the little things to satisfy each other's love languages? Because if you're not, and you find yourself just kind of coexisting, then your relationship is not going to last too long. That I can promise you. And yes, there are so many different scenarios that play out in this, right? So many different scenarios that play out in this. But the most important thing to remember is this, is that doing the little things every day will add up to big things down the road. Whether it's the little things, the self-work on you, the time and commitment you're putting to learning more about your partner, and I say that, and I say learning more because, guys, you can always be learning more. And if you're just staying stagnant, if you're standing still, you're not moving. If you're not moving, you're not going anywhere. Whether if it's up or down, you have to constantly be moving. Don't find yourself in a position where you are a roommate or coexisting, kind of like tiptoeing through life, hoping to make it safely to death. Like, don't find yourself there. You have to be enjoying and experiencing every moment in this journey. And every moment of this journey consists of the things that you're doing for yourself, the things that you're doing with your partner, and the things that you're doing with your children. I mean, these are the things that add up to this look back 20, 30 years from now, where you can look back at the moments and be like, yes, I did it. I put in the work. I valued the time and the energy and the effort. So I know this is going to be a quick episode today because, like I said, I'm jumping back into things. I'm really, really excited. My kids getting me on TikTok, I thought it was so stupid when I first did it. Now I love it. And I'm seeing some success with it because I'm seeing that there are a lot of other people in my situation that are unable to have a voice because of fear, doubt, worry, anxiety, and I'm able to speak for them, even if it's for something, something small. And I take responsibility. That responsibility I don't take lightly. I love it. So, that's something it's Tuesday. I know it's not the beginning of the week, but that's something that I kind of wanted to pose that question. Are you just coexisting? Are you a roommate? Are you doing the little things to keep the spark alive? Are you spending the exact amount of time of focus that you're doing to get your kids respect and to prove the others wrong that you're doing to make sure that your relationship stays strong? Because if you're not, what's going to happen is that some monkey wrench is going to be thrown at you. Something's going to happen that can put yourself put you and your family in a position where people are making kind of like choosing sides or making choices. And if you and your partner are not on the same page, sides are going to be chosen, and you are going to feel left out, stepdad. You are going to feel left out because you haven't done the work. I cannot stress it any more than that. You have to do the work. Work on you, work on your partner, then work on the children. Like, that has to be the process. And if you're not doing it in that order, you are going to find yourself chasing your tail repeatedly and consistently until sooner or later you just run screaming out the door and you never look back. And I know, trust me, let me make sure I'm clear about this. Stepdads, trust me when I tell you this. I know how you feel. I've been there, I've done it, got a t-shirt, rode the ride. I know how it feels to feel like maybe things are slipping away, or maybe you're not doing your best, or you could be doing better. Pride is huge. Very, very, a lot of stepdads that are in a position like us men, a lot of us are in a position to where we have such strong pride and we have such strong feelings toward things because we want to be right, or we hold grudges and animosity towards like the bio dad or the other parents or other family members. We have to let go of that. I've had to learn that the hard way a couple times. But can you find yourself, or are you willing to do the work to eventually kind of be where I was this past weekend, where I'm like in the room, I'm present in the moment, I'm enjoying every second with my wife. I mean, literally every second. And I just remember feeling grateful in that moment that I did the work on me, that I did the self-work, so I was able to understand my stubbornness, so I can be aware of the moments, be grateful of the moments. But not only that, communicate the moments with my wife. I'm telling you guys, that is years of work to be aware in the moment, to communicate in the moment, to where you can share the moment. And it's big. So ask yourself the question, are you still doing the things that you did in the beginning? Are you still doing the things that you did in the beginning to woo her? Are you doing the things in the beginning to to show your partner that there's unconditional love? Is there romance? How is your sex life? If you find it slipping, there's no reason why you can't just grab hold of it and turn it around. Everything can be turned around. But are you finding yourself in a position where you feel more like a roommate than on a team? Do you see teamwork, or do you see just coexistence? And that is an amazing question to ask, because I had asked myself that a couple times along the years. Many times along the way. How about that? So, do not tiptoe through life hoping to make it safely to death. Open up the lines of communication. Do that work that you know you need to do, so that when you are in the moments like I was this past weekend, you can be aware of them, you can communicate them, and then you can enjoy them, because then they are just a stepping stone to something greater. Okay, guys. Episode 42, Professional Stepdad Podcast. Thank you very much for joining me. Stop saying podcast. Episode 42 of the Professional Stepdad. Thank you very much for joining me once again. My name is Franco Zavala. If you do not follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and the website's coming soon. Throughout this episode, I've kind of put my handles all over. Please join us. Please share your stories. Please ask questions. I'm so incredibly grateful for every one of you gentlemen and every one of you watching. Until next episode, I'll talk to you soon.
Quiet on the set, please. Thank you, everybody.